The alien girl, Lyra, stood at the edge of the forest on her small home planet, her big, glimmering eyes scanning the horizon. The twin suns were setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, but she didn't notice. Her small hands trembled as she clutched the worn locket her mother had given her long ago. "My mother, why isn't she home?" Lyra whispered to herself, her voice trembling. Tears rolled down her cheeks, making the alien markings on her face shimmer in the fading light. She had waited all day, calling her mother's name, but there was no answer. The village around her was quiet. Most of the other aliens had gone to their homes for the evening. Lyra felt more alone than ever. Her heart ached, and a heavy feeling of fear and worry wrapped around her tiny frame. She didn't know where her mother was or if she was safe. Just as the first star appeared in the sky, Lyra heard soft footsteps behind her. She turned quickly, her eyes wide. A human appeared from the shadows, tall and gentle-looking. Humans were rare visitors to this planet, and most aliens in her village kept their distance from them. But this human didn't seem threatening. "Hello, are you okay?" the human asked, their voice calm and kind. Lyra blinked, unsure if she should trust this stranger. "My mother, she didn't come home," she said, her voice cracking with sorrow. "I've been waiting all day. I don't know where she is." The human knelt down to her level. "It's all right. We'll find her. I promise I'll help you." Lyra's heart fluttered. No one had ever said such words to her before. Her small hands shook, but she reached out to the human, desperate for help. Together, they started walking toward the village center. The shadows grew longer, and the forest around them seemed alive with strange noises. Lyra's sharp alien senses picked up every rustle, every whisper of wind. Fear mixed with hope as she walked beside this human. Could they really help her? As they approached the first houses, Lyra noticed signs of struggle, small objects overturned, faint scratches on the walls. Her fear deepened. Something had gone wrong. Her mother might be in danger. The human held her hand tightly. "Don't worry, Lyra. I'm here now. I won't let anything happen to you or your mother." Lyra looked up, her tears still glistening, but now there was a spark of hope in her eyes. She wanted to believe the human, but a small part of her heart whispered a warning: not all humans are kind, some have their own plans. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed from the dark alley nearby, a low, guttural growl. Lyra froze. The human's eyes narrowed. "Stay behind me," they said firmly. The creature stepped out of the shadows. Its body was massive, covered in rough scales, and its glowing eyes locked onto Lyra. Her heart pounded in her chest. This was the danger she had feared all day. The humans stepped forward, placing themselves between Lyra and the creature. "Go on, run," they commanded. Lyra hesitated, but the human's confident stance gave her courage. She ran, her small legs carrying her as fast as they could through the twisting streets of the village. She glanced back just once, saw the human confront the monster with no fear in their eyes. In that moment, something inside Lyra changed. She realized humans might be fragile in body, but their courage and heart could be stronger than any alien fear. As they reached the edge of the village, safe for now, Lyra hugged the human tightly. Thank you for saving me," she whispered. The human smiled gently. "This is just the beginning, Lyra. We'll find your mother, no matter what it takes." And so, under the twin suns' fading light, a bond began, a bond between an alien girl who had lost everything and a human whose courage might just change her world forever. The adventure was only beginning, but for the first time since morning, Lyra felt a flicker of hope. The night on Lyra's planet was unusually quiet. The twin moons hung low, casting silver light over the twisted forest paths. Lyra and the human, whose name was Kale, moved carefully through the village outskirts, their shadows stretching long behind them. Every sound, every whisper of wind, made Lyra's heart jump. She kept her small hand tightly in Kale's. "Lyra, tell me everything you remember," Kale said softly, scanning the area with sharp eyes. His tone was calm, but it carried the weight of someone who had faced danger before. "My mother, she went to the northern fields to gather the starflowers," Lyra whispered. "She never came back. When I called for her, no one answered. I ran to the village, but everything looked wrong." Kale nodded. "Starflowers, they only bloom at night. That means she might still be out there. We have to move fast." They entered the northern fields. The starflowers glowed faintly, like tiny lanterns scattered across the dark ground. But something was off. The flowers closest to the forest edge were trampled, crushed under heavy feet. Lyra's stomach sank. Kale crouched beside her. "Someone, or something, was here recently. Look at these marks." He pointed to deep claw-like scratches in the soil, leading deeper into the forest. Fear clawed at Lyra's chest, but Kale's steady presence gave her courage. "Do you think it's the same creature from the village?" she asked, her voice trembling. Kale's eyes darkened. "I don't know. But whatever it is, it's dangerous, and it's not human." Suddenly, a cold wind swept through the fields, and a low, eerie hum echoed in the distance. The hair on Lyra's arms stood on end. What was that?" she whispered. Kale's gaze sharpened. "The forest is alive here. It senses us. Move slowly." They followed the trail of claw marks, moving deeper into the dense forest. The shadows between the twisted trees seemed to shift, forming shapes that were almost alive. Lyra clutched her locket tightly, her tiny fingers trembling. Every step felt heavier than the last. Then they reached a clearing, and what Lyra saw made her gasp. There, tied with strange glowing ropes that pulsed like tiny stars, was her mother. Her mother's eyes were wide with fear, but she was alive. Behind her, in the shadows, a group of creatures watched silently, tall, slender, and unlike anything Lyra had ever seen. Their skin shimmered in dark green and purple, and their glowing eyes fixed on Kale and Lyra with intelligence that made Lyra shiver. Kale stepped forward slowly. "We're here to help. Let her go." The tallest creature moved, its voice a low vibration that Lyra felt in her chest more than heard. "Humans, you dare enter our domain?" Kale's jaw tightened. "I don't care about your domain. Let her go, or you'll regret it." The creatures shifted, circling them. Lyra's fear surged, but Kale's courage seemed to create a shield around them. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device that glowed blue. The creatures recoiled, hissing. Lyra didn't understand the device, but she felt hope bloom in her chest. This human, Kale, was not just brave, he was extraordinary. His courage, his cleverness, made her feel that perhaps anything was possible. The tallest creature hissed one last time, then stepped back, disappearing into the shadows. The other creatures followed, leaving the clearing silent except for the soft hum of the ropes binding her mother. Kale quickly approached and deactivated the glowing ropes. Her mother collapsed into Lyra's arms, tears streaming down both their faces. "Lyra. I'm so sorry. I couldn't get back," she whispered. "It's okay, Mother," Lyra said, hugging her tightly. "We're safe now, because of him." She looked at Kale, her eyes shining. "Thank you." Kale nodded, but his expression was serious. "We're not safe yet. These creatures won't forget this. We need to leave the planet tonight, and fast." Lyra felt a shiver of fear run down her spine, but at the same time, excitement surged through her. She realized that humans were not just fragile beings, they were fighters, thinkers, and protectors. Kale had risked everything to save her and her mother. As the three of them disappeared into the forest, the shadows behind them seemed to move, watching, waiting. Lyra knew one thing for certain: this was only the beginning. The universe was bigger, stranger, and more dangerous than she had ever imagined. But now, with Kale by her side, she felt a spark of hope, a belief that humans could truly change everything. The forest was alive with danger. Every shadow seemed to move, and every whisper of wind carried an unseen threat. Lyra, her mother clinging tightly to her arm, followed Kale through the twisting paths. The glow from the starflowers dimmed as they moved deeper, and the cool night air carried a strange metallic scent. Kale's eyes darted in all directions. "They know we're here. The creatures won't give up easily," he said, his voice low but firm. "We have to stay ahead of them." Lyra's heart raced. "But, where can we go? The village is gone, and the forest is endless." Kale stopped and pointed to a narrow path hidden between jagged rocks. "There's a canyon ahead. It's dangerous, but it will keep us hidden for a while. Trust me." As they ran, the ground trembled beneath them. A low, guttural roar echoed through the trees. Lyra stumbled, but Kale caught her. "Stay close. Don't look back," he warned. Suddenly, dozens of glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. The creatures were coming, fast, silent, and relentless. Lyra felt a shiver of fear, but Kale's courage sparked a fire inside her. He picked up a small, glowing device and pressed a button. A brilliant blue light erupted, forming a shield around them. The creatures recoiled, hissing in confusion. Lyra's mother gasped. How is this possible?" Kale didn't answer. He simply grabbed Lyra's hand and ran. The path was narrow, with jagged rocks on either side. Every step was perilous, but Kale moved with purpose and precision. Lyra realized that humans, fragile as they looked, could be faster, smarter, and braver than she had ever imagined. As they neared the canyon, a sudden screech split the air. A massive shadow swooped down from above. Lyra froze. Another creature, larger than the rest, with wings like jagged shards of glass and eyes glowing like molten fire. Kale didn't hesitate. He grabbed a small flare from his belt and threw it toward the creature. The flare exploded in brilliant red sparks, blinding it momentarily. "Go! Move!" he shouted. Lyra ran, her legs carrying her faster than ever. Her mother followed, but fear weighed heavily on her. The canyon walls loomed ahead, jagged and steep. Kale's hand found hers, pulling her up as they scrambled along a narrow ledge. The twin moons cast long, eerie shadows across the canyon as Lyra, her mother, and Kale continued their flight. Every step echoed against the jagged rocks, but the silence around them felt heavier than the danger itself. Lyra's mind raced. The creatures were relentless, but this new shadow, larger, darker, and faster, felt like something beyond their imagination. Kale paused at a narrow ridge overlooking the canyon floor. "We need a plan," he said, his voice steady but tense. "They're learning. If we keep running blindly, they'll corner us." Lyra's mother whispered, trembling. What is it?" "That shadow, it's huge." Kale didn't answer immediately. He scanned the area, analyzing every rock, every shadow. "It's not just one creature," he said finally. "Something bigger is controlling them. Something intelligent." Lyra's eyes widened. "You mean, they're being led?" Kale nodded. "Yes. And if we want to survive, we need to think like humans think, and act like humans act. Fear alone won't save us." As they crept along the ridge, the shadow swooped down again. Its wings sliced through the air with a sound like thunder. Lyra froze, but Kale grabbed her and shoved her behind a boulder. The creature crashed where they had just been, shaking the ground violently. Dust and small rocks tumbled down the canyon, covering them in a thin layer of dirt and fear. Kale's hand pressed against Lyra's shoulder. "Breathe. Stay calm. Watch me." He pulled a small device from his belt, similar to the one he used before, but larger and pulsing with bright, blue energy. He activated it, and a dome of protective light encased them. The winged shadow screamed, thrashing against the barrier, but the energy held strong. Lyra gasped. How do humans do this? Kale's lips tightened. We adapt. We survive. We fight smarter, not just harder. The mother whispered, awestruck. He's extraordinary. Suddenly, the dome flickered. The shadow's eyes glowed brighter, as if it had learned to counter their energy. Kale's hands worked furiously on the device, sparks flying. The shadow screamed louder, and for a moment, it seemed the dome might fail. Then, Kale pressed a second button. A wave of light shot from the device, bouncing off the canyon walls and striking the shadow. The creature howled, recoiling into the darkness. Lyra felt her heart pound, not just with fear, but with admiration. Humans were fragile, yet in moments of danger, they could wield intelligence and courage as weapons more powerful than any alien strength. Kale grabbed Lyra's hand. We can't stay here. We need to reach the crystal caverns. It's the only place they won't follow us easily. The crystal caverns? Lyra's mother asked. I've heard legends, they say no one survives there. Kale gave a small smile. Then it's perfect. That's exactly where we need to go. As they raced through the canyon, the shadows seemed to grow taller, darker, almost alive. Lyra glanced back once, dozens of glowing eyes followed them, unblinking, silent, intelligent. Fear gripped her, but this time it was mixed with something new, determination. She had Kale with her. She had hope. At the edge of the canyon, jagged rocks opened into a narrow tunnel. Strange, faint crystals glimmered on the walls, reflecting the light from Kale's device. A cold, almost magical energy pulsed from within. Lyra stepped cautiously. The air was thick, almost electric. Kale held up a hand. Stay close. This place isn't just dangerous, it's alive. But if we navigate it right, we can finally get a chance to fight back, instead of running. Lyra squeezed his hand. Her tears from earlier were gone, replaced by courage. She realized that humans weren't just survivors, they were leaders. They were capable of turning hopeless situations into victories. But deep within the crystal caverns, something stirred. The shadow was not alone. Something ancient, intelligent, and far more terrifying than any creature they had seen, waited silently, watching their every move. And when it finally moved, the ground itself shook. Lyra swallowed hard. Kale, whatever it is, it's coming for us. Kale nodded, determination blazing in his eyes. Then we'll meet it head-on. That's what humans do. The echo of footsteps, deep and resonant, filled the caverns. The next battle had begun. The crystal cavern stretched endlessly, walls glittering with strange, radiant crystals that pulsed like living hearts. Lyra, her mother trembling beside her, followed Kale cautiously. Every step echoed with metallic clangs, and the air vibrated with energy that made Lyra's skin tingle. Kale's eyes scanned every shadow. Stay close. These caverns are alive. They can sense fear, doubt, and weakness, he whispered. We have to be stronger than that. Lyra nodded, gripping his hand tightly. She felt a strange surge inside her, a mix of fear and courage. Humans weren't invincible, but Kale had shown her that their mind, courage, and quick thinking could stand against almost anything. Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the ground. The crystals along the walls glowed brighter, and a massive shape emerged from the darkness. It was the ancient creature Kale had sensed, the one controlling the other shadows. Its body was like black smoke twisted into a monstrous form, with glowing eyes that burned into their souls. Lyra gasped, clutching her mother. Kale, it's enormous. Kale's hands moved quickly over his device, activating a protective dome. The creature roared, the sound vibrating through the cavern and making the crystals shiver. Lyra felt her heart race, but Kale's calm presence anchored her. "We can't just defend ourselves. We have to fight smart," Kale said. "It's intelligent. It learns. But humans, we improvise." The creature lunged, sending a shockwave that shattered crystals around them. Lyra stumbled, but Kale caught her just in time. He activated another device, releasing a pulse of energy that fragmented the creature's form momentarily. The creature screeched in fury, its dark body reassembling instantly. Lyra watched in awe. Humans were fragile in body, but their courage, strategy, and ingenuity were unmatched. Kale's every action displayed precision, bravery, and an almost unshakable determination. "This way!" Kale shouted, pointing toward a narrower tunnel illuminated by faint golden crystals. They ran, dodging falling debris and sudden energy pulses from the creature. Suddenly, the cavern split into two paths. One path was wide but exposed, and the other narrow but dangerous, with sharp crystal spikes jutting from the walls. Kale chose the narrow path. "It's risky," he admitted, "but it gives us cover and a chance to outsmart it." Lyra squeezed her eyes shut, heart pounding. Every step was agony, every movement precise to avoid the jagged crystals. Her mother hissed in pain but kept moving, inspired by Kale's courage. As they emerged into a massive chamber, the creature followed, but the space was wider. Kale activated a series of devices hidden in his belt. Light beams shot across the cavern, bouncing off the crystal walls. The beams trapped parts of the creature, slowing its movements. "Now, Lyra!" Kale shouted. "Use the locket." Lyra hesitated, then remembered the locket her mother had given her. Its ancient alien markings pulsed faintly in her hand. Trusting Kale, she held it high. The crystals in the cavern responded, their light converging on the locket. A blinding energy erupted, striking the creature. It screamed, recoiling into the shadows. The cavern shook violently. Rocks tumbled from the ceiling, but Kale held on to Lyra and her mother, guiding them through a narrow exit tunnel. The ancient creature's roar echoed behind them, fading slowly as the energy wave forced it deeper into the caverns. They collapsed outside, panting, exhausted but alive. Lyra looked at Kale with awe. You saved us." "Again. Humans, you're incredible." Kale smiled faintly, but his eyes were serious. "This is only the beginning. The universe is full of threats like this. But humans, we fight, we adapt, and we protect those who can't protect themselves." Lyra hugged her mother tightly, then glanced at Kale. She realized something profound: humans might not have strength like the aliens, but their courage, intelligence, and heart could overcome the darkest forces in the galaxy. Above them, the twin moons shone brightly, reflecting on the cavern's exit. Lyra felt hope, courage, and a new belief: with humans by her side, even the impossible could be faced. But deep within the shadows of the crystal caverns, the ancient creature stirred. Its form reassembling, its glowing eyes burning with a promise: this was far from over. The night sky shimmered with twin moons, casting silver light over the jagged landscape outside the crystal caverns. Lyra, her mother, and Kale trudged through the rocky terrain, exhausted but determined. Every shadow seemed to twitch, every gust of wind carried a faint whisper of danger. Lyra's heart pounded. She knew the ancient creature in the cavern was far from defeated. Kale paused, scanning the horizon. "They're tracking us," he said quietly. "The creature, it's smart. It learns, adapts, and it won't stop until it gets what it wants." Lyra shivered. "But why us? Why my mother?" Kale knelt beside her. "It's not about your mother alone. This creature is a predator of fear, of weakness. Humans and aliens alike, it senses what we fear most. But that's also why we can defeat it. Fear gives it power, courage gives it limits. Lyra took a deep breath, gripping the glowing locket tightly. Its soft pulse seemed to echo her heartbeat. "Then we fight," she whispered, her voice small but determined. Kale nodded. "Exactly. But we fight smart. We set the stage, control the battlefield. That's how humans survive the impossible." As they moved, the air grew colder. Crystals jutted from the rocks, reflecting eerie light. Suddenly, a chilling screech shattered the night. The creature had emerged, larger and more terrifying than ever. Its black, shifting form seemed almost liquid, eyes glowing with pure malice. The shadows around it were alive, writhing like snakes, echoing its power. Kale stepped forward, activating his devices. Pulses of energy created a protective barrier around them. "We can't just defend. We need to trap it," he shouted. Lyra's mother clutched her tightly. "Trap it? How?" Kale's eyes gleamed with focus. "The crystals here, they're conduits. If we can channel its energy into the locket, we can weaken it long enough to escape, or maybe even defeat it." The creature lunged. Its massive form crashed against the barrier, sending tremors through the rocky ground. Lyra squeezed the locket, and it began glowing brighter, responding to her fear, her courage, and Kale's energy devices. "You have to focus, Lyra," Kale shouted. "Your courage feeds it, your fear weakens it. Control it." Lyra closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. She felt her fear, her sorrow for her mother, and then her trust in Kale. The locket pulsed, beams of golden light shooting into the cavern, striking the creature. It screamed, thrashing violently. The shadows it commanded recoiled, writhing and shattering. The ground quaked, rocks splitting apart, crystal shards flying. Kale pushed Lyra and her mother toward a narrow tunnel. "Go. I'll hold it off." "No. I can help," Lyra shouted. Kale shook his head, determination in his eyes. "You've already helped. You're the key. Move." Together, they ran. Lyra's locket pulsed, keeping the creature distracted, giving Kale time to set traps of energy and crystal conduits. Sparks flew, the cavern shook, and the creature's terrifying cries echoed like thunder. Finally, they reached the edge of the cliff overlooking the valley below. Kale activated the last device, sending a massive wave of energy through the cavern. The creature let out a final, deafening roar before vanishing into the shadows, leaving only fragments of dark energy dissipating into the night. Lyra fell to her knees, trembling. Her mother hugged her tightly. You did it, Lyra. You helped save us," she whispered. Kale joined them, exhausted but smiling. "No, we did it. Together. That's what humans do, they fight, adapt, and protect. Even against the impossible." For the first time since morning, Lyra allowed herself to feel safe. She realized humans weren't just clever or brave, they were a force that could change destinies, protect the helpless, and stand against darkness in ways aliens often couldn't. The twin moons reflected off the valley below, casting light over the survivors. Lyra clutched her locket, her eyes shining with hope. The universe was vast, dangerous, and full of mysteries, but with humans like Kale, even the darkest shadows could be faced. And deep in the cavern, hidden in fractured crystal and shadow, the remnants of the ancient creature stirred, promising that the battle was far from over, but for now, humanity had proven its extraordinary power.